Greetings, dear divine. I am Medusa, and today I am tapped into the heaviness that I'm feeling compelled to voice on behalf of Mother Gaia, the divine feminine within us all, who mourns at this time for what is happening on Earth at the now that I am recording. Multiple genocides are to start, and the latest events of which are a boat being intercepted for wanting to bring goods, needed goods, food, to the people of Gaza. And in LA, distractions, unnecessary, dramatic distractions by Trump to tear apart families. There's already been heaviness in the air. There has. And yet now it's heavier. And that just encapsulates the experience of the Divine Mother, doesn't it? One of endless sacrifice. One of giving beyond capacity. Because she has been robbed and extracted of with everything unfolding in this now moment, there is a call for clarity and accuracy of information being shared. And with that, a call for accuracy of history, right? What has led us here? What is repeating that we've not fully taken a look at in our history? And then that just goes into mental health and trauma and the science there that trauma cycles, trauma repeats because it's stored. The impact of trauma gets stored in the energetic body to be felt later. Hence triggers, trauma triggers. And the vast implications of trauma cycles are that collectively we as humanity can go through such things. There is history we are being asked to remember now that I truthfully know from a sense of inner knowing, and from having been presented and seen multiple sources. So, all to say, my logical reasoning is present. The certainty of the knowing rests deeply in the intuitive knowing, while the logical, rational thought process is there. All to say that with humility, I present this information as a processing of my own understanding of our history, as a potential for us all to understand and uncover where we've been, what's unfolded before, and what can be, what may come, given what is unfolding now. We know not only that there are multiple genocides happening on the earth at this time that are being silenced and suppressed from the media. We know further that these aren't the first genocides to have happened on the earth. Our history is documented as war-filled. As normalizing hate, conflict, and genocide. And it completely erases ancient history previous to our first genocide. Because our first genocide is the one that we are still striving to heal. That is the ache that I feel with all that is unfolding on Earth at this time. The ache that I feel is that here we are again, not having yet learned from where we've been, and still trying to align all of ourselves in unity and love. And we're so lost in the conflict. We're so lost in what is right, what is wrong, and being critical of each other's pathways and approaches to reaching a certain thought and then acting on that thought and belief to affect meaningful outcome. It's the pitfall that we get lost in the specifics of what is happening, the narrative of who and what, of protagonist and antagonist. We forget that this whole thing we experience is the divine. And that as much as ego and narratives want us to focus on the conflict, the who, the what, we feel how deep this goes. We feel the pain that is happening all the way across the world in Gaza, all the way across the world in LA, wherever you are. We feel it because we've lived it already in our DNA, in our history, in our lineage, across lifetimes, across souls. Genocide has only repeated because we have failed to accept that we do not need to live in conflict, that was a lie to normalize and keep us trapped in these loops of war and conflict. Humanity has reached a point of progression in our evolution that we're not quite at right now. A point in our evolution where we were connected with the stars, beings beyond this planet. Inspiration for Star Wars. There's so many myths we are fed that we believe are myths only because we do not see them as reality now, but are truly a reality that once was possible, but that is no longer because we have been cut off. Humanity has been cut off from certain levels of possibility because of our disconnection in sacred honoring of one another and of life. That is what needs to heal. That is the original trauma of Atlantis and Lemuria. The first genocide was of Lemuria by Atlantis. And ever since then, we have been saying no more, never again. But still, here we are cycling. And that is what brings me back to needing to remember that when we look at the narrative like that, it can feel like, what's the point? Here we are again. Have we not learned? But yet, here we are again. By divine design, there is a reason everything unfolds the way that it does. And from personal lived experience, when the divine designs things to unfold a certain way, it is undeniable that's unfolding as divine. And so if it is still unclear, as it is unclear right now, what's unfolding and what's to come for humanity, this is where faith, this is where trust comes in. Trauma cycles. It gets re-triggered at a later event that's similar to the traumatizing event. Then each genocide that's happened in our history has been a re-triggering of the trauma that is the genocide of Lemurian civilization. And if traumas cycle until they're felt fully, then the remembering that I am having of Lemuria, and that I know I am not the only one having, I believe is the remembering we all need to be able to clear this cycle of trauma from our human lineage, our collective experience. And maybe then, from here, can we progress to a human civilization like Atlantis was, like we saw in Star Wars. That's how I'm seeing this unfolding right now, as heavy as I am carrying it, as much as I'm needing rest and sleep. I feel my duty is to ground the knowing that the divine is unfolding, that there is love, divine love threaded through all of us. And to be able to perhaps uncover what that is for us as this is all unfolding. That is meaning that I find a value at this time. So that is what I offer. I know that this spiraled, circled, rather than formed linear progression, but I hope you followed through divine. I hope you followed and deepened what was mused. What was our muse today? The duality of this existence is quite dynamic right now. Both the heaviness of what is happening for many, as well as the lightness that here the fuck we are. Here we are as humanity. Here's the work that we got ahead of us. And here the divine is somewhere working through all of this. That is the frequency I ground. I hope you find some ground. Take care.